I really wanted to make this video on a certain role for the Crucible. Now the other one, it's a PvE role, it's widespread. I don't have that role, but we're going to talk about it. Midha's Reckoning brings some things to the table, some things to think about. This is the raid high impact fusion. Now, high impacts, really, they're hit or miss. Completely role dependent. And wouldn't you know it, Midha's Reckoning has the roles. But before we get into it, I am partnered with Apex Gaming PCs, and starting today, the 4000 series GPUs, the 7000 series Ryzens, and the Intel 13th gen CPUs are being included in my PC line as upgrades. And with these new upgrades, until 10/23, you can use my code CoolGuy in the link down below for 15% off of your order. So yeah, again, the high impact fusions, they're all over the place. But for a high impact fusion, Midha's Reckoning has some of the best rolls you can get on these things. Is it worth it? Debatable. The role that I wanted to show you and talk about, it's pretty unique. No other fusion can have this combination on this frame, and on this frame, it does well. The first game I played with it, I had a Wii ran. Its backup plan, successful warm-up. The roll is completely bypassing the faults of the frame. The high impacts are a 5-bolt. They got that long charge time that they brought it down to 960, which is essentially a 0.96 charge time, right? Palindrome's TTK is 0.8, Messenger's 0.67, SMGs beat that. It's an eternity to charge these things up, so as a whole, these are mostly in the rear view of players' minds. Kind of forgotten about, and I get it. And the ones that you do have, maybe it's a Glacioclasm, Iota, Wizen, whatever. Kind of sick to that, but most, the majority, are using main ingredient, maybe Deliverance, Burden of Guilt, Snorri, maybe Timeline. Not really the high impact, so I don't really like the changes that these got. I think that they need more accuracy. I don't really use them up until this one. I tried Iota with Under Pressure, and a lot of these rules that should do well, and this one's performed the best. With Backup Plan Successful Warm-Up, it might be the best PvP role for a high impact currently. With Backup Plan, you get that reduced charge time, you get increased handling speed for a short time, right after you switch to it, so it's 100 handling, instant, 30% faster charge rate, but it deals 20% less damage. So the best way to think about this in simple terms, the charge rate goes to an adaptive frame, like Dreambreaker, Timeline, Techion Force, and I have unaccelerated coils. With Backup Plan, it does 52 per bolt. And I'm changing some things around, so it's gonna be that or a little bit higher. What to take away? With Backup Plan, it's a 4-bolt kill. They have 5 total, a little over 250 damage if all the bolts land. That will take out an overshield, enemies that have some damage reduction, things like that, but it's 5 out of 5. You've been seeing in the gameplay, it does get kills, but what you're kind of sliding right on into is successful warm-up. So after a kill, successful warm-up's gonna be on the screen, lasts for 6 seconds, and if you get a kill, 4 seconds are added on, which by the way, Backup Plan lasts for 4 seconds after you switch to it. But back to successful warm-up. That's a 37.5% faster charge rate. It gets it down to around 600 charge time, so 0.6, that's a lot better than 0.96. And a 600 charge time is right in between a rapid fire and an adaptive. So it's pretty fast, and it's shooting straight heat, full damage, 63, 65 per bolt. This type of roll, this type of weapon, I should say, is gonna work best when you don't hunt with it, right? Maybe you yourself, or you see it a lot in the Crucible. A lot of people just have out their special and they are going, they're running. With this, you want to use your primary. When close quarters matchups come up, they rush you or you rush them. You see some red on your radar, somebody's making a move, switch to Backup Plan. Get the fast charging kill, then you have successful warm-up. So it does work, but the question really is it worth the trouble? And I'm gonna say kinda, because it does work well. You've been seeing it does work well. But for it to work well, you have to be reserved. You have to be patient. It's primary first. You need Backup Plan to get the whole engine running with this roll. If you don't wanna do that, I get it. Like 99 out of 100 of you, any other fusion's gonna be better for you. But with this one, I wanted to show you what it could do, how it works, because it works well. I don't think most of you are gonna like it, but I think some of you will. It hits like a truck, it bypasses the bad parts of the frame. So if you get this on a random roll, I would try it. All the way back in Season 15, they said that these are now less reliant on stability. You can stack a little bit more range, and I agree with that. This is true because they have less bolts, they only have 5 bolts. So when it comes to the barrel, whether it's a random roll or you're crafting, it's got a base 22 stability. Like there's only so much you can do to make it really tangible. You get a lot of things from like Hedrons, adding stability different ways. There's well-rounded on the gun. We'll talk about that in a second. You have to think with a combination like that, say you throw a cold snap as you've been seeing with well-rounded, even though it's not Backup Plan, and then Hedrons hits, like I've doubled my stability at that point. But for that barrel, small bore, hammer forged, fluted, arrowhead gets it to 100 recoil. Those are good options. For the mag, again, it's kind of super tough because the charge time, right? Liquid gets it over 1 second. Accelerated works, that's what I'm using. And Accelerated got a lot better when they changed that way back when, so that's what I've been going with on a lot of fusion rifles, if it doesn't hurt my bolt to kill ratio. But this thing only has 5. But Particle Repeater, thanks for your stability range, it's gonna be good too. For the perks in the third column, we have Hipfire, Cornered, Field Prep, Well-Rounded, Backup Plan, Pugilist, and remember it's a special weapon, so on those final blows you get 20% of that melee back, Unrelenting. And in column 4, Surrounded, Kickstart, Tap the Trigger, Golden Tricorn, Vorpal, Successful Warm-Up, Reservoir Burst. And all of these are enhanced if you craft it. If you're playing the raid, you're going to see these things randomly. Try some of them if you get them, because some of them are quite rare as far as their perk combinations. Really good ones. And if you like it, craft it if it makes sense for you. So for the Crucible, you've been seeing Backup Plan, Successful Warm-Up, works really well. But other than that, we have Pugilist or Hipfire, or even throw in Well-Rounded. You can pair that with Tap the Trigger or Kickstart. Honestly, Backup Plan, Tap the Trigger is low-key a really good perk combo for this, because tap adds accuracy, and I think that's what these need the most. So if you do run this thing, I would put on Fusion Targeting, and perks that add accuracy, such as tap, are going to be S tier for it. And it's also giving some stability. It's only 5 bolts, so if we can make those 5 bolts more precise, more sticky, that's a win. PvE-wise, this is what most of you will craft or have crafted. It's Field Prep, Reservoir Burst. I would show you if I had one. You may have seen Runneth Over, the Raid Origin trait. If you have the ammo, reload next to teammates. The base mag is 5, and go to 6, 7, 8. With Reservoir Burst, shots 8, 7, 6, and 5 will all be Reservoir Burst without reloading. It's an amazing setup for it. And it's Arc, you can play with Arc 3.0. It's similar to Compulsive Reloader Reservoir Burst on Snorri, which I have that. It's really good, it's awesome. Now, there are some other combinations that are worth mentioning here. Like, as far as crafting, mainly Surrounded. That's a tough deal, because Enhanced Surrounded, 47% more damage with that spec on. You possibly pair that with Pugilist. Don't sleep on that. That's really good damage, great damage. But also with Reservoir Burst, pair that with Pugilist or Unrelenting. Since you're getting collaterals with Reservoir Burst, Unrelenting is going to proc, giving you health. Pugilist, every time that it's getting kills on those ads, 20% of your melee, instantly coming back, a fast charge. That's really good. I currently have 2 red borders on my way to 5. I will craft one, and I will be doing Field Prep, Reservoir Burst. It's too good. It's too useful. It's something I could use a year from now. It's something I use day 1 of the next DLC, and it's going to perform just as well as it is right now. I would love to know your thoughts, though. I mainly want to talk about the PvP aspect of this thing, because high impacts, you don't see them anymore. And when one comes up where it's kind of breaking the mold, I want to talk about it. It might be your thing, but for a lot of you, probably not. I get it. But the truth is, as odd as that is, a Backup Plan, Successful Warm-Up, or possibly Backup Plan, Tap the Trigger, this might be the best high impact for the Crucible that we've had in a while. Scratch that, probably the whole game, PvE included, because of its perk set and its combinations. It's worth a shot. If you're new here, remember to hit the subscribe button, and if you are subscribed, thank you so much for your support. Let's talk about this one. I don't see it. Very role dependent, so for those of you that have one or have crafted one that has a great role, tell us about it. Thank you for watching, and until the next one, I am CoolGuy.